Hello, we are on our way to Washington.
Oh, the road is pretty.
Let me show you the road. This is what it looks like when you're on your way to Washington. So why are we going to Washington? Well, it's very simple. We're going there to protest the genocide of the Palestinian people and the U.S.'s complicity in this ongoing event. For the past few weeks now, we've been seeing a lot about just how many civilians are being bombed and gassed and slaughtered, including thousands of children. I was raised to be a Zionist, specifically a Christian Zionist. What that looks like is you believe that as long as we are Israel's ally, God will bless the U.S. But if the U.S. were ever to turn its back on Israel, God would turn his back on us, and then the U.S. would be destroyed. And Israel is never going to be destroyed because it's God's chosen people on God's promised land. And what I never learned was that the state of Israel was only formed by the British after World War II. So everybody had been doing fine without the state of Israel being there before that. So that pulls the whole Christian angle into question. Israel is an apartheid state. Palestinians are treated as second-class citizens and have been for the past 75 years. There have basically been 75 years of oppression, slaughter, ethnic cleansing, stealing the land of the Palestinians, and it's come to this. We all know colonization is bad. Like, at this point, we should have that figured out. A good way to frame this for your mind: if there was a school shooter hiding in the school with the other students, is the proper response to blow up the school? If you're treating Hamas as just this terrorist organization, it still doesn't justify blowing up the civilians. And Israel has also claimed that if Hamas would act differently, then they wouldn't be bombing them. But what they're literally describing there is collective punishment. They're punishing a civilian population for the acts of this small group. That's collective punishment, and that's a war crime. So Israel is really an apartheid state because it treats the Palestinians like second-class citizens, and it's a colonialist state, and it is also a terrorist state. It is good to emphasize this, that not all people in Israel are Zionists, and not all Jewish people are Zionists. So this isn't about being anti-Semitic. This isn't about religion. This is Zionism, which is this settler colonial mindset of this land is ours, and because you were living here before us, you've got to go. What we're looking at is a corrupt, fascist, terrorist government, the state of Israel. That's what that is. The big issue that I have with the United States in all of this is our tax dollars are funding this genocide of the Palestinian people. It's this insane capitalist thing where the government is looking after their capitalist interests. This is funny. You know, I got so much crap in my video about socialism because I said I wasn't going to vote for Joe Biden. People were like, you still have to vote for the lesser of two evils though. And right now, we're watching the lesser of two evils fund a genocide with our money. Meanwhile, our own fellow citizens in the U.S. across the board are struggling. We can't meet the needs of the people, but we have money to fund wars. I feel like a big response to any sort of criticism of Israel is like, but do you condemn Hamas? This is my take on it. I am not willing to condemn Hamas until people start condemning the 75 years of oppression, slaughter, ethnic cleansing, stealing the land of the Palestinians by the Israeli government.
They're literally the resistance.
Hamas is resistance, yes, and resistance isn't terrorism. I mean, Nelson Mandela was called a terrorist when he resisted apartheid South Africa, but history remembers Nelson Mandela as a hero. But yeah, when you oppress a people, when you kill people, when you steal people's land, what option is left to them at that point? You basically dictated as the oppressive government that they have to resist in some way. And then when they do resist, you call that resistance terrorism, and that gives you the excuse to oppress and kill and steal more land, and you act like it's justified, but it's not. None of it's justified. Essentially, Israel created Hamas. Israel has created the conditions where Hamas is the only option that the Palestinians have. I think it's worth saying that it is a tragedy when civilians in Israel are killed. That's not good. That's bad. And the root of this issue is Israel. It's not the Palestinians. It's not Hamas. Like, Hamas wasn't just formed on a whim for no reason, just to be evil. All of this has been created by Israel, and by extension by the West, who started the whole settler colonialism thing there. We want to see the end of colonialism, the end of apartheid, and the end of the genocide. We want Palestine to be free. We want to see the end of the occupation. And we're coming to Washington just to let Joe Biden know that this is what we want. Oh yeah, that's the thing. The Republicans want to impeach him, but not because he's funding a genocide, but because they want to be the ones funding the genocide.
Exactly.
This whole two-party system needs to go. We need a working class government that cares about the working classes of the world.
And he's also the docent of that cemetery.
I get your attention just for a moment, because it was 40.
Assalamu alaikum.
As burial sites of our Palestinian children.
You may build walls of hatred around me. You may glue my eyes to humiliations, O enemy of the sun, but I shall not compromise. And to the last pulse in my veins, I shall resist.
To many, we don't deserve life and self-determination, like any human being deserves. And when they failed,
Rather, the state of Israel is the personification of anti-Jewish and anti-Semitism. To end the constant cycle of violence and tragedy, Palestine must be returned to the Palestinians and the Zionist movement must cease. We pray that this should happen peacefully with no more suffering for anyone. Inshallah, at that time we can hope to see the peace that existed in Palestine prior to the invention of Zionism once again restored.
shut down their meetings, stop the ships filled with weapons, and don't let up.
We are at a pivotal moment of the global fight against Western hegemony, Western imperialism, and Western colonialism. Full against American imperialism, and imperialism that has destroyed the global south, an imperialism that is acting as a world police, where thousands and millions of people are dying for standing up to injustice and to oppression. Exactly on the day of the Balfour Declaration, and I'll end with this. My relatives, we are in struggle, therefore we are in revolution. Hook the head!
They were bringing domination and barbaric colonization. That when they said they were the most moral army, they were the most monstrous and murderous that we have seen in modern history.
I think it's Benjamin Franklin. He said free Palestine. Free, free Palestine! We want justice, you say how? End the occupation now!
Palestine!
to the Palestinian flag now. I think that's Biden's house. Can you hear us, Mr. President? Can you hear us? Made it through. Okay. Hello. We survived. It was good to see in person just how many people actually care about stopping the genocide. Because sometimes when you're just going about your day-to-day life, it seems like not a lot of people are too worried about it. But that was a huge protest. That was massive. So many people. I never got to a vantage point where I could see where the march was beginning or where it was ending, really. It was so big. As far as the marching itself goes, and the energy and the passion and the commitment of the people to say stop the genocide, end the occupation, that all went well. Will it actually change anything? I don't know. Excited to see how that goes. Would love to just see any response to all this. Because when you're there, you feel like this is too big. This is so big. How could they ignore this? But I think it's going to take a lot more organizing and activisming and protesting to get anything done. But I'm very happy to have been a part of this. The end.